Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support. Today, I read an interesting article on yahoo.com, put out by MoneyWise and written by Jessica Wong, titled, "I make $55,000, but after rent, student loans, and a bit of savings, I'm stuck living paycheck to paycheck." According to the author, imagine you're a 29-year-old professional making $55,000 a year, but you pay $1,850 in rent and $300 in student loan payments each month. On top of that, you still have other expenses, such as utilities and groceries, and you want to buy a car to get around. It can feel like you're stuck living paycheck to paycheck, with little to no room for savings. Is this an impossible situation to get out of? Well, my friends, I don't think it's an impossible situation to get out of, but it is going to require some lifestyle change, starting with your apartment. $1,850 per month in rent is a lot of money when you only make $55,000 per year. I'm going to share with you a personal story. When I graduated from college with my master's degree and started working on my Ph.D., I wanted to keep my living expenses as low as possible. I rented a 4-bedroom apartment with 3 other guys. We split the rent and utilities 4 ways. I was able to lower my cost of living dramatically by doing this. I was able to free up cash to invest. I purchased some rental properties at a young age in my early 20s. I then set my sights on a primary residence. I purchased one and then moved those 3 guys into the property. I even put them to work during the first month or 2 and gave them free rent if they would help me with some light renovations. After the light renovations were over, I began charging them rent for the rooms, and we split utilities 4 ways. At one point, I even added a 5th roommate. I was able to take some of the money that I was making in rent and renovate the old basement and put a bedroom down there, and I moved a 5th guy into that finished basement. So I was actually generating some positive cash flow from my primary residence, and basically I was able to free up more money to invest in additional rental properties. Now, consider how good my situation was versus this young 29-year-old in this story who makes $55,000 per year and is paying $1,850 in rent. This individual is throwing away a lot of money. Now, I want you to understand, having multiple roommates is not easy. So before you entertain doing this, I'm going to share some horror stories with you. When you have multiple roommates, there are often a lot of dirty dishes in the sink because people think, oh, someone else will do those. If you have food in the refrigerator, it's certainly possible someone else could eat it. If you are sharing a bathroom with multiple people, well, they may forget to flush the toilet. They may leave toothpaste in the sink. They may not rinse it down. They could use your shampoo and conditioner. People are not always courteous. Now, there are other drawbacks. The roommates could potentially stop paying their rent. And if you're friends with them, that puts you in a difficult situation. Now, I was able to get a property management company in the city to sign leases with all of the roommates that I had, and the roommates had to pay their rent directly to the property management company. So I didn't have to worry about that because I knew that there was a possibility my friends would try to take advantage of me, and that could ruin the friendship. If they were having financial difficulties and couldn't make the car payment, are they going to pay the car payment late, or are they going to pay me late? They could potentially lean on me and say, well, could you help me out just this 1 month? I'm stretched financially. I'll make it up to you next month. I didn't want to be in that situation. So I had a property management company that handled that, and they took 10% of the rent. But to me, that was worth it because I knew that I didn't have to worry about dealing with difficult situations with my friends. Now, I'll tell you some other horror stories here. I decided it would be nice to purchase a hot tub for the backyard. I had a nice fenced-in yard. I had some great landscaping. I had all types of outdoor lighting, tiki torches. And so I bought a hot tub, and I allowed my roommates to use it. Once I came home from work late in the evening, and two of them were in the hot tub, and they were wearing sock hats because it was really cold outside. And they told me the hot tub wasn't staying hot anymore. And I asked why. And they said, well, they had ordered Chinese, which was delivered, and one of the guys had spilled his Chinese food in the hot tub. And all that rice expanded and clogged up the intake. These guys happened to be drinking that evening, and so this was not a big deal to them. But I just got off work, I was tired, I wanted to relax, and instead I had to kick them out of the hot tub. I then had to drain all of the water out of the hot tub, and keep in mind, it was really cold. This was in the winter time. So my hands are freezing. I drain all the water, then I have to scoop out all of the rice on the bottom. I have to take the filter out. Then I have to install a new filter, and I have to add all new fresh water and turn the hot tub back on. Now that is not what I wanted to do when I came home from work that evening, and I was not happy because of how cold it was outside. Would you want to do that in the middle of the winter? Well, I sure didn't. So that is just another story about what could potentially happen if you take on multiple roommates. Not always a good situation. I'll tell you another situation. Once I got up for work in the morning and I opened the bathroom door and I heard a thud. And I'm wondering, what is this thud? Well, I happened to find one of my roommates passed out on the floor wearing nothing other than his underwear. Apparently, he had drank too much and he was vomiting in the toilet, and then he passed out on the bathroom floor, and I found him there the next morning when all I wanted to do was take a shower and get ready to go into work. So I was able to save a lot of money by having multiple roommates, but these are the types of situations that I had to deal with. And I was willing to make these sacrifices at a young age to save money, which would allow me to then invest for my future. Sure, I would have loved to rent a really nice, luxurious, $1,850 per month apartment by myself and not have to deal with any of that. But I may not have been able to build up the cash reserves necessary to invest in rentals for my future. And in addition to rentals, I was also investing in equities through pre-tax contributions as part of the retirement plan at my employer. So that also would not have been possible had I had a very expensive apartment at a young age, given my salary at the time. So I think that someone who is really interested in not living paycheck to paycheck, and someone who is interested in investing for his or her future may want to entertain making some lifestyle changes, such as multiple roommates. But keep in mind, it may not always be easy, but it may be a way that you can actually save and invest for your future. Now, this particular author had talked about savings. I wish the author would have emphasized the need to also have extra money set aside in an emergency fund. I'm afraid A lot of Americans do not have an emergency fund. Many believe they can just rely on a credit card or family or friends. I don't think that's a good plan. I think everyone should have a well-funded emergency account in the event you encounter some unexpected expenses in life. If you have a modern vehicle and it no longer has a warranty, well, you better have several $1,000s set aside for a rainy day in the event that car needs to be repaired. Even some basic things on these modern high-tech vehicles can be incredibly expensive. If you're a homeowner and you have no emergency account, I think that is a recipe for disaster. Homes are a machine for living, and machines often break. If you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner, or you happen to have a major plumbing issue, such as an underground sewer line that collapses, well, you better have emergency savings to deal with that. The author used the word saving, but didn't specify retirement specifically. And I want to touch on that for a moment. I think young people who want to stand a chance at being able to retire with dignity and financial security need to start setting money aside for retirement as early as possible. And if you are making $55,000 per year and spending $1,850 in rent and $300 for a student loan payment, you are likely not going to be maxing out your retirement contributions at a young age. And that really could impact what you can do when you reach an age where you can no longer work. Relying solely on Social Security sounds like a recipe for disaster to me. I think folks should entertain making sacrifices at a young age so they can set money aside for their future. Their future selves will thank them. Now, I had to make a lot of sacrifices when I was young. Not only did I work a full-time job, not only did I have multiple roommates, but I also had multiple side hustles going. I started a lawn and landscaping business. I was often doing that really early in the morning when it was still dark outside before I went into work at my full-time job. I also had a part-time job where I was teaching classes online for an online university, bringing in extra income doing that. I mentioned the rental properties that I had. I was also selling vehicles online for a friend of mine who owned a used car dealership. I was able to help him market these vehicles online, and then he would cut me in on those deals. So I had a lot of side hustles going on, which allowed me to bring in quite a bit of money, which I was able to use to invest for my future. A lot of people may not want to go to those extremes. I didn't have much of a personal life back then because I was so focused on making money and saving for my future. So some folks want to have fun when they're in their 20s, and many don't make saving or investing a priority. And some watch the years go by and they reach an age where some of their friends are retiring and enjoying life, and they may still have decades to go before they can retire because they had a lot of fun in their early years and didn't make investing for their future a priority. So I'm curious what you think about all this. Have any of you made sacrifices at a young age to be able to set yourself up for a comfortable future? If so, tell me about it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.